So NBA playoffs, man. This is your time. This is your speed, CC. This is your jam.
Oh,
And I'll admit, the first day, the first games, the game ones of every game but one, I was upset. I was like, you know what? Is this what it's gonna be like? I'm not happy. Game
yeah.
two, starting last night. Lord have mercy. If it's gonna be like this, CC, it's gonna be incredible.
Before we even get into last night's epic collapse by a couple of teams, we got to talk about my narrative for all year is you guys is your MVP. Is this your king? Luka Doncic couldn't guard anyone. A bunch of empty stats. 33 points he scored. Everybody's in my feed. He scored 33 points. He scored it when it didn't matter. They were getting their ass kicked the entire game. The guy is a liability on defense. He holds the ball for 22 seconds out of the shot clock and doesn't make his team any better. They're playing him like they did James Harden in Houston, where you can guard a guy by standing behind him and taking away the step back because he won't shoot a layup. It's insane. And he won't get that fixed.
That's a basketball thing, though. That's a cultural basketball thing now.
Yeah.
Guys won't shoot layup. That's not a Luka problem.
It's a Luka problem when it's that easy, when they're standing behind you. Look, he got bludgeoned by a Kawhi-less Clipper team. I don't want to hear it. Everybody jumping in there saying,
Hold on. It wasn't he that got bludgeoned. The Mavericks got bludgeoned.
No. He got bludgeoned. He didn't show up till middle of the third quarter.
Okay, I'll buy that.
Kyrie showed up.
I mean, but the Mavericks.
I'm done here.
They only scored 30 points in the first half. You're not beating anybody in the NBA if you're only scoring 30 points in a half. That's just not going to happen.
Let's go to anybody else. If you only scored 30 points in the half and you've got LeBron in his prime, we're blaming LeBron. You got Michael Jordan in his prime, 37 a game in the playoffs. It's MJ's fault. What other team do we give him a bye? He led the regular season in scoring. That was everybody's defense to me that he should be in the MVP running. Well, when you only scored 30 and a half, man, he's almost averaging a triple-double with the assist. He didn't get anybody else involved. I didn't see that stat come up with how many points he was accountable for until late in the third quarter. So that narrative is bunk. Until he changes a couple things in his game, he's just a regular season stat stuffer.
Well, I disagree. I disagree because he's played well in the playoffs. I mean, they were in the Western Conference Finals for crying out loud, and it was largely because of him. Now, I'm not saying that he's a great defender because he is awful at defense, but you can't say that he's just a regular season stat stuffer because when the playoff now, barring the first game on Sunday, they got blown out. But when push comes to shove, Luka shows up in the playoffs. He just does. Okay. I mean, that's just a fact. I'm not saying they always win because they don't have the best team, but in the playoffs are here, he shows up.
Well, you said they don't have the best team. Everybody in my feed says, after the trades, they got some rim protectors. They got some defenders. Look at their record since the trade deadline. Everybody's saying he has the best team. And I was like, okay, they're fifth. Well, they just got beat by the fourth team.
I mean, if you're talking to Dallas Maverick fans, I mean, what are they're going to say that.
I'm talking to everybody on the internet, and they seem to be Luka fans because it supports their narrative that you can move really slowly and shoot three-pointers and win. No, you can't. Okay, now to the last night's games. Was the moment too big for the Sixers? Right?
No, they got cheated.
Did they get cheated? Nah.
Well, here's the thing.
Get out of here.
Let me start by saying this. The Sixers, first of all, call timeout. Kyle Lowry's been in the league 100 years. You take the ball out of bounds. You know that you can advance it. Call a damn timeout. That's number one. But that doesn't excuse the refs not calling 2 fouls on the play. Not to mention, of course, they come out today and say, yeah, we blew it. He got hammered twice and we didn't call it. One of the times he got thrown to the ground, but we're not going to call that. We're just going to let it go. So, yeah, they got hosed. Should they have gotten the rebound on the missed 3-point attempt? Absolutely. Well, you gotta get the rebound. I don't care what happens. But two things can be true. They got hosed. What's your take on that?
Well, there's three things that can be true. Number one, you can't win. You can't shoot the ball if you don't have the ball. So rebound, right? Number one. Number two is you don't want to put the game in the refs' hands. So it shouldn't have been that close. Who I had for my regular season MVP barring injury, he he's not as dominant as he used to be. And there's no structural damage to his knee. He's just got to get past it. I get it. He grew up playing soccer until he was 15 or
He
16 or
scored
whatever it is.
35 points. What are
Did
we
he
talking
score?
about?
Did he score the 35 when
Yes.
we needed it? Was he dominant down the stretch?
He couldn't move. He can't jump more than 1 foot off the ground. But you're
Why?
telling me that a man scored 30. The only reason they're in the game is because he scored 35 points. If he has 25, they get blown out.
Well, so first things first, Joel Embiid may be the worst passer in the playoffs I've ever seen. So he may have scored 35, but he should have facilitated even more. Second of all, I don't think I can reliably go to him on the block and get a bucket. I think he's going to want to shoot a three when he's tired. He's not in good shape. And let's be honest, half the people in this chat have had a meniscus surgery. Okay, you're playing for 30 or $40 million. Let's go, buddy. It's structurally sound. I get it. You don't want to land on it. Are you hurt or are you injured? Injured? Let's get him off the court. Hurt? I don't care. Let's go. And I think that Joel
35
is a little
points.
Yeah, not when I needed it. Not when I needed it. So yes, Maxey got hammered. Nick Nurse.
First of all, they were up 5 points with 35 seconds to go. I mean, they're up 5 points. A guy made a three where it hits the front end of the rim and somehow bounces up and in. Now, I know Papa Claymon can do that because he was a knockdown shooter. He had that soft touch. I could do that. I had that soft touch back in the day. You know what I'm saying? I still got that soft touch. You ask the right people. That's a different conversation. Having said that, okay, so they made a lucky three, and then they get thrown to the ground, and you're blaming. I don't see how you blame them, CC. Sixers got jobbed. They got jobbed.
I don't think it should have ever got there. Yes. Do I think Lowry should have called timeout?
Yes.
And did I think Maxey should have grabbed the ball? Did I think they should have rebounded? But, man, they're 0 for 3. Do you want the refs' call to be that valuable? I'm sorry.
They were only up 5 points. It was a nip and tuck game the whole game. What do you mean?
I understand. Should it be?
Well,
I'm sorry. The New York Knicks are down one of their stars. My son used to get robbed in rec league basketball games. And I'm like, the guy's getting paid $20 to ref this game. Why is it in his hands? It should
but he threw the guy to the ground. I mean, I could see if he missed a layup or, he was dribbling and a guy reached in or something. He literally threw him on the ground. I mean, that's a foul at every level of basketball. I
agree.
I don't get it.
We're going to move to the other game that they're blaming on the refs as well.
I don't know. I don't know how you blame that game on the refs. I don't know. The Lakers gave the game away. Yeah. I don't know how you.
I'll give you one. I'll give you one. I can't give you both. So if you've got to have the Sixers were hosed by the refs, then I'm going to say the Lakers gave it away, and not the Lakers collectively. I'm not a LeBron GOAT debater. I think he's in the conversation. He's playing at a super high level. The guy and AD showed up, so it's not AD's fault. But the rest of the Lakers absolutely sucked. And
yes,
I think LeBron is greatly, regretting the decision not to trade D'Angelo Russell's dumbass. And
last night he was okay. Snitch Russell was cooking. He was cooking last night.
If you have to just say he's okay, you're already excusing what we all know. The guy's a liability. He's a freaking head
defense, yeah.
Earlier, Tyke Stone asked me to name some names. There was a fullback in our meeting room back at K-State. He said we used to always say he was a head case. D'Angelo Russell is a head case. He's the Greg Borders of the Los Angeles Lakers. I mean, it's insane that we accept him to be okay. And we're like, that's a good day. He didn't throw the ball, he didn't airball 6 shots and then throw it away 5 times. It was a good day for D'Angelo. No, he sucks. Get him off the team.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but you got to use some context, Chris. He set the Lakers record for 3-pointers last night in a playoff game. I mean, he wasn't bad last night. It wasn't him. How about Hachimura? You played 36 minutes and you scored 3 points. How about that guy? Or how about the great Austin Reeves that everybody always talks about? Out on the court, can't do nothing out on there. KCP has literally put him in a straitjacket and said, you're not doing anything as long as I'm out on this court.
Yeah.
How about we look at them? He can't do anything.
Austin Reeves can eat when he's got a mismatch. Obviously, he doesn't. And shame on anybody for paying him that much money. He was in handcuffs. But Hachimura needs to put that little basket or that little Batman mask back on because he should be ashamed of himself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
LeBron made all those moves to get him, talked about how talented this kid is, and he's got all the tools. He's got all of the tools. He's a no-show. So maybe it's the altitude, maybe it's the atmosphere, but holy shit. I was so disappointed. I'm not a Lakers fan. My old man is. I'm not, but I want to see good ball, and that was not good ball.
That was terrible. Like I said, down the stretch, the Lakers got it. You're up 20 in the third quarter, and you can't bring that home. LeBron wants to talk about a foul call on D'Angelo Russell. It was a foul. That didn't have anything to do with you blowing a 20-point lead, okay?
Right.
I don't want to hear it. And here's another thing. You talked about Embiid, okay, and you blamed Embiid, which I don't think you should. Okay. Anthony Davis didn't score a point the last 19 minutes of the game, scored 32 points. Not enough. I'm assuming you're going to agree not enough, right?
No, absolutely not enough. But let me tell you about Anthony Davis. The unibrow was in the same expression I was the whole game. He was watching Jamal Murray cook. I felt like he sometimes is a prisoner of the moment. He forgets he's in the NBA too. He was doing a lot of gawking. Yeah, no did he? I felt like he was, I felt like he was doing a lot of watching, and he was amazed. I think the game was too big for him. Here's a guy that, LeBron said was in the top 5 players in the league 3 years ago, and then won the chip in the bubble. And I think he was just a spectator. He was just along for the ride. And then he wants to get pissed in the post-game conference and say he hit a big shot. You were watching him, mouth open, agape, Holy shit. Anthony Davis, sometimes he doesn't even put a hand up. The Joker goes to work on him, pause, and he's just like, yeah, man, that's the MVP. Sometimes he's kind of happy to be there. So a guy that doesn't have that dog in him, and I'm not even going to say street clothes. He's played a lot of games this year. I was disappointed in AD, but Hachimura and the collective Lakers lost it, and they are wasting our GOAT, our time frame's GOAT, his dwindling years with just piss poor play. So.
Yeah. I mean, they should be ashamed of themselves. They had the game. Number 2, Darvin Ham.
Yeah.
How about a defensive adjustment, CC? How about, hey, this guy's killing us and nobody's making any shots. How about we double team this guy? Nope. We're not going to do it. We're going to double team Jamal Murray and AD guard him one-on-one. What are we doing?
You're going to double team Jamal Murray?
No. Jokic was killing them. Man, he got him back in the game. Jamal Murray only entered the fourth quarter with 6 points. He started killing them. Double team the guy. Crazy. Only Michael Porter Jr. was making shots. That's the only guy that was making any shots. Nobody else was. And they let him catch up.
When you think of centers that can score all time.
Yeah.
Where's Joker for you? Where's Jokic?
I mean, he's got to be in the top 5.
No way. They can score?
I mean, yeah. Why isn't he?
No, that was on the argument this morning, every channel. I say let Jokic one-on-one get 60, get 65.
Yeah, but that's not what you asked me. You said, where do you rank him on can score? He can score if you let him.
He can't put in 60, and that's what it's going to take to beat me. I'm not doubling him. I'm not turning him into a passer.
Who's giving you 60?
You get what I'm saying.
Or
I'm
50.
Not I mean, I'm gonna let him get okay. I'm gonna let him give me 40. Jamal Murray is not gonna get these mismatches and come up these screens and get these perfect dimes and light me up with fresh legs in mile-high atmosphere. Nope, Jokic's gonna have to carry him. I'm just gonna switch out 5 after they get fouls. AD's gonna come in a little fresher. Let Jokic beat you. He can. He's the MVP. But death by 1,000 cuts, man. Everybody's a shooter feasting off of Jokic, and I was disappointed.
Yeah, but that's not what really happened last night. Last night, they allowed him to score and catch up. When the Lakers went into there, we're going to miss a bunch of shots and turn it over, they didn't make any defensive adjustments, and they let Jokic kill him.
Sure.
And he did.
Sure.
They let it happen, and he did. At some point, you have to say,
to him when he was
I'm going to make somebody else beat us.
No.
Well, they didn't do it, and they lost.
I got you.
I mean, you got to do something. I mean, they didn't make it. They didn't stop him, and they got caught up, and they got beat. So I would say guys that aren't making shots, I'll let them beat us before I let this guy beat us. And he had 27 and 20 and 10. I mean, what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
I don't know. Ty has a question on it. We got to move to the other series because those are the ones getting all the headlines. What do I think of SGA as MVP? I mean, I think there was an argument to be made for that. I wish they would stop the regular season MVP voting a little earlier. I really do. But I don't know. I think the moment is getting too big. The kid looked really good, and he's 31 a game. I don't know what his playoff scoring average is, but I don't know if he makes that team better or that team is that much better around him. Hear me out. They got the big physical Williams kid that plays defense. They got Chet, who's runner up to a rookie of the year. And then they got the, oh my gosh, I can't think of the little guy. I wish Josh was on here. He'd tell me. So they've got a great supporting cast, not taking anything away from him. But I don't know if you don't have those things, if he's making himself the most valuable player in this league or to the team that won the West. So that's my SGA take. Cat's as smooth as it can be. But sometimes, those kids who don't look like they're running hard don't get the credit. And I think that's what's happening. I feel like he's got more in the tank. And I got to see that Bernard King, that flu game, Jordan, him get carried off. The Kellen Winslow. I've got a bunch of them.
But it's also been a lot of regular season stuff. And you know how, some of this stuff works. You play good in the regular season. Okay, great. Let me see you in the postseason. And then if you come back in the next year and do it in the regular season, I can get you an MVP. We'll give you an MVP vote or two. But I don't think he's going to win it this year, although he's in the conversation.